With enough meticulous planning, you can make something that seems impossible seem easy. I think that's what people must have thought of Goldratt. He'd come into a situation, take a look around, think a little, and then point to this small change that when they made it, changed everything. It must have looked easy, and people must have said to him, "You just want an easy life." He had a response. He'd say, "If you want an easy life, it's simple. Just hit yourself in the head with a hammer hard enough, and life will be so easy they'll even bring you your food. No, I want a full life." But what did he mean by that? What's his full life? It's a strange sort of thing for a physicist to say. Well, I think I know what he meant. I think he meant that everyone can reach a level of engagement in life where they're thinking clearly about their goal and consequently are able to move toward it. That's why this is number 5 on the list. Once you're doing the first 4, you're going to be enabled to think clearly and move towards your goal. Well, if thinking clearly is the way to have a full life, we better understand what thinking clearly is. And there's a pretty simple definition. Thinking clearly is the action of refraining from thinking circularly. Yeah, I know that's kind of weird. And of course your first response is probably, "But I don't think circularly. I always think clearly. I never use circular logic. I never use self-referential thinking." Sure, we all think that. Have you ever heard that addiction treatment doesn't work if you don't want it to work? Or addiction treatment only works when you want it to work? Have you ever said that? That's an example of circular logic. On what foundational premise is that based? None. Why do we say that? Why do we think that? Well, we've seen addiction treatment work. Now we've seen addiction treatment not work. And we look at the people it works in, and they seem to be working at it, and they seem to have motivation. And the people who it didn't work in, we can find some fault in them. It wasn't necessarily our fault that they didn't get better. And maybe they didn't seem to work hard enough, or they weren't very interested in what I said. So they obviously didn't want it to work. How do we know the other guys wanted it to work? Well, because they worked. They worked hard enough to make it work. They must have wanted it. How did we know it? The guys that didn't work and didn't want? Well, they didn't want to work hard enough. Just the fact that it didn't work proves that you have to want it for it to work. It's self-referential. There's nothing underneath there except our assumptions. How about another one? He drinks because he's an alcoholic. Well, actually, I could think of about 50 reasons besides that, but a lot of people have said that. I hear that in addiction treatment all the time. When I am talking to another doctor and they're telling me about a guy that can't get to stop drinking, and I say, "Well, why does he drink?" And they go, "Well, he's an alcoholic." First response. We define the alcoholic as somebody who drinks too much. So this guy won't stop drinking. And why? Well, he's an alcoholic. We just refer back to the definition. It's self-referential. It's a circular logic. It's nothing but assumption. I think if you look at it, you'll find that we are all prone to circular logic all the time. It sort of comes out of that being hardwired for narrative description. We actually get a hit of dopamine. We get a reward when we come up with a clear and coherent narrative. Here's the big problem, though. So we've explained why he drinks. We've explained why treatment doesn't work. But we haven't found anything to improve the situation. We just get caught in this roundabout. Oh, there's a problem. Oh, here's the explanation. Oh, look, we still have the same problem. Well, we still have the same explanation. And hey, the problem's getting worse. Yeah, well, we still have the same explanation, and so we have to try harder. And we just keep going around and around and around. We're filling the same pothole over and over and over again without looking at why is there always a pothole in this spot. Circular logic gets us caught in a roundabout, and we can't go straight. But we have to go straight to get to our goal. And Goldrat's point is you don't have to be a genius, you don't have to have huge intuition, you don't have to have a PhD. Everybody can go straight toward their goal. Everybody can use logic. It's freely available to everybody. All you have to do is refrain from thinking in a circular way. Well, that's not easy, but it's doable. It does require a conscious decision, and it requires a lot of practice. But it's clearly available, and if we're ever going to end addiction as a problem in our lifetime, we're going to all have to learn how to do it. Have a great day.